Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I had the honor of growing up as a millennial, which means I grew up from 1986 to the year 2000. So I saw Disney come out with a lot of innovative franchises like Hannah Montana, Wizards, and Phineas and Ferb. And they were franchises that I fell in love with. I can't lie about that. So because I fell in love with these franchises and I grew up during a generation that I saw so much happen for Disney, I've always wanted to honor everything Disney had happening for it. No matter what you're talking about. No matter if you're talking about Hannah Montana, Wizards, Sweet Life, Phineas and Ferb, because I fell in love with these franchises just like each and every one of you did. I had a greater appreciation for the live-action Snow White earlier this year, a greater appreciation for the live-action Beauty and the Beast, and for sure a greater appreciation for the upcoming live-action Tangled than probably many people are going to compile interviews about on their YouTube channels. I've always wanted to talk about Disney in a way that it showed a prestige, and it showcased the honor that I believe Disney has always deserved to be talked about for. While people choose to criticize particular franchises like Hannah Montana and Wizards of Waverly Place, I chose to shy away from that because I think about you and the value behind the production that I present for each and every one of you and what you see when you watch these videos and what you want to get the most out of them for. And that became the greatest honor of my life. So when I discovered the power of Descendants and Zombies, I thought it was a perfect opportunity and fit perfectly with what I was trying to promote, which was a message of kindness. Because all of my life, all I ever wanted was for a message of kindness to be heard. And I thought these characters were incredibly kind, and they were so dedicated and devoted to entertaining each and every one of you. So when I heard about all the criticism Kylie Cantrell was receiving about her political point of view and her relationship status and her friendship with Malia Baker, I said enough is enough, and I had to do something about it. So I launched a YouTube channel on August 5th, 2024, about a month and a half after The Rise of Red had premiered, and I said let's do something about it. Let's talk about Descendants and Zombies. And ever since the very first video that was uploaded on this YouTube channel, people fell in love with what I had to say. And people fell more in love than they ever had before with Descendants and Zombies because they are very passionate about these franchises. More passionate than they were about High School Musical and Hannah Montana from many moons ago. And I say this with 100% confidence because I saw the popularity of Hannah Montana. I recognized the popularity of Wizards of Waverly Place, and I knew Disney was in a generation that they would never see again. They would never have the stars that they saw in that generation that were a part of it, and they will never have stars that were a part of the Descendants franchise that really captivated millions of people. Now, I know a certain percentage of those stars came from High School Musical, the series, which is a title that's very hard for me to roll off the back of my tongue. But I say this because I saw how successful that TV series was, and I really believed that people like Kylie Cantrell deserved more of an opportunity because all Kylie Cantrell ever amounted to was a reoccurring role, which means we didn't get to see Kylie Cantrell enough. And we didn't get enough of time with Kylie Cantrell to really appreciate her, to really understand how much of a valued commodity she was to the Disney company. I think a reoccurring role is just a way of simply introducing us to what the stars of the future are going to amount to. At just 20 years old, Kylie Cantrell has a phenomenal resume that I can't say enough good things about. Gabby Dern and the Unsettables, Bizaardvark, Raven's Home, working alongside a legend such as Raven Simone, who I was a huge fan of during her time on That's So Raven years ago. That was a part of a Disney Channel revolution in my mind because it set the pace for Hannah Montana and Wizards of Waverly Place and setting up the torch to be passed from a legend like Raven Simone, who had contributed so much really her entire life to the Disney company, to someone like Miley Cyrus, who really ran with the Hannah Montana gimmick. And I think about all these beautiful friendships that we've seen and how Disney has really come into its own, exemplifying the friendships and the power of friendships because of Descendants and Zombies. And I think about how disastrous friendships were or could have been with Miley Cyrus and Emily Osment, because that really was a friendship that could have been beautiful. That never was. That never happened because they could never see eye to eye. Disney had this consistent habit of putting out shows where the cast members could just never see eye to eye. Because from the very first moment that Miley Cyrus and Emily Osment stepped onto the set of Hannah Montana, they could never see eye to eye. And there were a lot of people in a lot of different situations that just never had the chemistry. That's why Disney tests the chemistry and go through over 500 auditions, because they want to fit perfectly to the generation they are trying to promote. And the way they fit perfectly to the generation they are trying to promote is go through 500 auditions and really test the waters with chemistry. Now, for some reason, Hannah Montana exploded in popularity, but it certainly wasn't because of the message of friendship and how important that was. It wasn't until a decade and a half later when Descendants showed up and Dove Cameron had achieved worldwide popularity off her Disney Channel TV series Liv and Maddie that she was given this role. And it became such an iconic role for Dove Cameron because so many other characters would have a chance with the Descendants franchise. So many characters that we never thought possible would be honored and given a chance. And a greater appreciation would be shown to fairy tales that we grew up with and that we had fallen in love with. And this is coming from a guy that used to sit in front of his TV with a bowl of chicken noodle soup and watch the classic Cinderella over 100 times every time he was sick. Because I saw the beauty in Cinderella. I saw the passion from the mice helping her make her dress to attend the gown ball and fall in love with Prince Charming. I remember seeing that movie 100 times. It was one of the very first movies that I ever fell in love with because the mice wanted her to achieve her dream of falling in love with true love and finding it before the clock struck midnight, and she had the opportunity to do that. And she also left a quote with me that's resonated in my heart for forever and always, that a dream is a wish that starts with your heart. And because a dream is a wish that starts with your heart, and that's where it begins, I think Descendants and Zombies has really done a fabulous job carrying on the legacy that Cinderella has left behind, becoming one of Disney's most revered and most popular princesses of all time. Second to her would have to be Ariel, because I think she's incredibly beautiful. And one of my all-time Disney princesses would have to be Aurora from the Sleeping Beauty classic from 1958. You know, it's really hard to believe that all these Disney princess classics happened almost 50, 60 years ago. It's been about 65 years since all these Disney princess classics became so revered. But I've never felt more honored to talk about a franchise that is keeping the legacy of these stars alive. That's what's so amazing about these franchises, is Disney is trying to keep the legacies of your favorite characters and your favorite princesses alive for forever, even if it is through the daughters of these princesses like Sleeping Beauty and Maleficent. It's really beautiful how Disney is really bringing these franchises to life and really putting a stronger emphasis on the value of friendship and just how much further kindness can go, which we got from Ruby Rose Turner's character, who I miss being a part of the Descendants franchise. I say this because Ruby's story was very far from over. It was anything but over. And I will never get over how Ruby departed ways with the company, because I really do believe that Ruby's story was just getting started, and we had more to learn and find out about Ruby. I think they were just really exploring the waters with Ruby Rose Turner's character, Bridget, because I really do believe that she became everybody's favorite Descendants character for her message and just how genuinely kind she was. Every opportunity Ruby had, she made the most of it. And that's why I became the biggest fan of Ruby. And that's why I will forever support her being in the live-action Tangled, apart from everybody else, because I know the Tangled live-action princess has been a revolving door. Who's going to play Rapunzel? Is it going to be Sabrina Carpenter? Is it going to be Dove Cameron? Now, when Dove Cameron's heart lies with playing in the Frozen musical, I think that the door is shut on her for playing Rapunzel. But I think the door has never been more widely open. That leaves the door more widely open than ever before for Ruby Rose Turner to move in and capitalize. Because I did see an interview where the Descendants stars were being interviewed, and Ruby was posed the question of who would you play outside of your own character from Descendants if ever having the chance. And she said she was just going to go with Rapunzel because Rapunzel was the most iconic princess in her mind that she always wanted to play. And I think Rapunzel was a favorite princess of everybody. I say this because I remember how much success the Tangled movie had in 2010. It was the biggest movie of 2010 for Disney. It made over between $250 and $320 million. That was huge for Disney, especially for a CGI'd movie. I think the only movie that ever came close to breaking that record would have been Toy Story back in 1995. And come to think of it, I didn't think Toy Story made that much. It was the first computer animated movie in Disney history, and every movie followed suit after that. But I don't think Toy Story made that much money. Toy Story's characters are ultimately more revered than these characters from Descendants I know, and virtually every Disney character is more revered than all the Descendants characters, but I think they are definitely on their way to achieving greatness and going down in history for being some of the greatest of all time. I really believe that a bigger budget could be dropped for Descendants. I feel that's an issue, because with a budget of $10 million, you're not really presented with an opportunity to really create something special. And what you've got to do is you've got to allocate a bigger budget, and you've got to have confidence in your stars to really bring it to life. I think you could allocate a $15 or $20 million budget. That would increase the special effects. That would present an opportunity to create more storylines, to have more cast members be a part of the franchise. Perhaps these Descendants stars felt as if they were in higher demand, and there were more opportunities for them to have extended to them. And I really wish that Disney would drop a bigger budget for the Descendants franchise to bring this to life in a way that it was meant to be brought to life, as opposed to just allocating a $5 million budget and seeing what they can do with it. Because really, when you're allocated a $5 million budget, your possibilities are limited. You're kind of confined. It's almost like you're living inside of a box, and the writers and producers can't do with the franchise what they want to do with it. So I think that if I was the writer and producer of Descendants and Zombies, I would strive for a bigger budget to be dropped, because it would make everybody happy. It would create a energetic atmosphere. I think the energy was at an all-time high by Descendants 3 because they knew they had created something special, and it was going to be a moment because they had reached a point where they had believed at that moment they had told a story and completed it. But because I'm a firm believer that you're never really telling a story to complete it, you're just really telling a story to continue on with the franchise. I really do believe that even though they said Cameron Boyce being a part of the franchise meant so much to them, and having him not be a part of the Descendants franchise just didn't feel right, I really believe that if we were to ask Cameron Boyce if he could come back and tell us, he would tell us that he's happy with what the Descendants franchise is happening for it right now. It may be being told through a different story and different characters, but people like Clarke and Clarke have come so far in such a short amount of time. I say this because I remember watching Clarke and Clarke's YouTube channel, Hello Kylie, and I remember becoming so enthralled with her dedication to talking about TV shows like Sam and Cat, because I was the biggest Ariana Grande fan in the world. Guys, I thought Ariana Grande was the most adorable girl ever on a Disney Channel TV series, I can't lie. And I instantly fell in love with Ariana Grande for her passion as Cat Valentine on Victorious, which was carried over eventually to the spin-off series Sam and Cat. Because while the chemistry between Jeanette McCurdy and Ariana Grande, another example I can use for you where there was a lack of chemistry and a lack of understanding, that they were never the best of friends, they just couldn't see eye to eye. No matter how many photo shoots we saw them be a part of, or how many interviews they did for PR, they were never the best of friends. So they fell into that same category and that same line as Emily Osment and Miley Cyrus. Now I know Emily Osment had a lot of pressure because she was attending public school while filming Hannah Montana, which was a constant struggle for her. There was a point in time in my life when I loved Emily Osment too, when I felt really bad for her for the pressure she was under. And there was a point in time in my life when I felt really bad for the cast members of Sam and Cat because it was a TV series that only had 35 episodes in just one season. That upset me so much because I became the biggest fan of Sam and Cat. I thought it was really cool, the concept of the show, the messages of the show. And then I go on Twitter at the time before it was rebranded to X and see Jeanette McCurdy and Ariana Grande dropping tweets about how they're not role models for kids and they're teen idols. That's what really got me about that, because I believe that never enough chance or never enough opportunities were given to people like Ariana Grande and Jeanette McCurdy. And then we wonder why Ariana Grande focused on music and being an actress in big-time movies like Wicked, which I'll be seeing on November 21st, which I'm incredibly excited about. The reason why she focused on music and why Miley Cyrus did it many years before that was because I think they weren't given much of a chance. A TV series with merely just 100 episodes and 4 seasons is really not stretching it out beyond anyone's expectations. It's just how Disney could never get past 4 seasons and 100 episodes of a TV series. And if not 100 episodes, 75, which I think is what Liv and Maddie dropped. So I think that Disney has really put it out there that, a dream can happen for everybody, but there's never enough emphasis on this kind of thing. So I think Disney was really waiting on a franchise like Descendants to really explode in popularity, because I feel as if they were relying too much on the messages of High School Musical and Hannah Montana, and it was almost like they wanted to stay lost in that era for forever. So when Descendants and Zombies finally happened, at least it created a feeling of diversity. It allowed everybody to achieve acceptance. It allowed everybody to stay the best of friends for forever, because some of the most beautiful friendships of all time happened because of Descendants and Zombies. Now, I know that Zombies was referred to as a copycat of Descendants, and they were pretty similar with their messages, but I think that Descendants and Zombies fit perfectly together for what Disney was trying to promote. Marvel had just come off of introducing us to the Marvel multiverse. A lot of people couldn't make sense of it. And being a big superhero fan like Meg Donnelly, and how I can relate to Meg Donnelly, how she wanted to be Supergirl in the live-action Superman, she has nothing to be broken-hearted over, because the portrayal of Supergirl by Millie Alcott in that movie was absolutely disastrous. It was a nightmare. Because going into that movie, I thought that she was going to have a role of more significance than what she had. And how she portrayed the Supergirl character was so disrespectful. I never thought that Supergirl as a teenager would be that disrespectful at just 16 years old. So I'm hoping that when she has a bigger involvement in the sequel to this movie, where 95% of the movie Superman had his ass kicked, she will have a better portrayal and come off as a more positive image, although that remains to be seen. So if anything, Meg Donnelly should focus on prioritizing herself and her music career and her career as an actress. Because when you can take a character like Addison Wells with the Zombies franchise and bring her to life in the way Meg Donnelly did, that nobody else would have ever been able to do if ever given the opportunity, I think that is something special. And I think that was meant to happen for Meg Donnelly. Zombies was really a career-defining moment for her and Milo Manheim because the chemistry was off the charts. Undoubtedly, there is something in the water over there at Disney. I've got to get a drink of it because they were able to turn such negative vibes from Hannah Montana and Sam and Cat into something so special that was unique, that separated from every other franchise that Disney had tried to promote, and I thought were going to drastically fail at doing it. And the interesting thing about that was the argument has forever and always been presented that High School Musical is the most revered franchise of all time, but I seriously have my doubts. Even though it had a viewership of 17.8 million viewership, I think that Descendants of Zombies has really come into its own. And if you were to put the two franchises up against each other, I think Descendants of Zombies would come out with flying colors, and they would come out swinging. And if they were going to go down, they would go down swinging because of how popular they are. I think that they definitely would surpass the expectations of every critic and outbeat people like High School Musical and Hannah Montana because the chemistry was there, the understanding of the cast members and what they wanted to get the most of the opportunity and this chance, which is what they perceived it for being, was there. That chemistry and that chance was never recognized or was never there for Hannah Montana and High School Musical. And I say this because I was coming out of a generation where I was the biggest Hannah Montana fan and High School Musical fan, but when I discovered the secrets, upon discovering the secrets of what was happening off the camera, behind the closed doors, I lost all respect for High School Musical and Hannah Montana, I have to be honest. Because Hannah Montana goes down in history in 2024 for being the youngest Disney legend at the D23 Expo of that time. And I got to thinking about how your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars, if this argument can be presented, so too can the argument for your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars to share that same stage and to be honored with that same accolade. And that's precisely what I'm here to do. But I can't do that without your guys' help. So if you could take a moment to hit my subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it because I think that never enough appreciation can be shown to your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars, especially when you see how far Freya Sky has come and how she's really ran with the Nova character. I have a greater appreciation for Nova because of her personality, her curiosity, how she's trying to figure out her place in the world. And the cool thing about her, in a couple of weeks' time, she will be 16 years old. And I'm really excited to see where she goes from here at 16 years old because she's just trying to figure out her place in the world. And I mean no disrespect for saying that Freya Sky is just trying to figure out her place in the world. I say this about Kylie all the time, too, because I'm very passionate about these stars. And a lot of that has to do with how I believe Disney will never see stars like this ever again. That was said when Jessie had one of the most talented casts ever assembled for a Disney Channel TV series and went on to become one of the most popular Disney Channel TV series of all time. And Debbie Ryan was so emotional, I'll never forget, when she said she wasn't ready to go to the writers and producers and wanted more of an opportunity. And I think that Jessie really opened up the door of opportunities for people like Cameron Boyce and Peyton List, who always had a great friendship. I think Cameron Boyce was friends with everybody that he was ever on the set of, which gave me a greater appreciation for everything he had contributed to Jessie and Bunked and eventually Descendants, because he was one of those lifelike characters that made you feel as if you were a part of something special or you were going to be a part of history. Because undeniably, Descendants of Zombies was a part of history that touched all of our hearts. That got us thinking about all the moments that we had worked so hard to achieve in our lifetime. Because everybody has a dream. And the moment you realize that you've accomplished that dream, you stand back and you say, oh my God, is this really happening to me? I think the greatest reward, if anything is ever presented to you, is the realization that the dream finally became a reality for you because you can't believe it. And that's what Descendants of Zombies has forever and always instilled in each and every one of our hearts, is the belief that a dream can really happen for anybody regardless of what that dream is. You can give me 100 dreams presented here on this desk, and I would say for you that each and every one of those dreams is possible for you. All you've got to do is keep holding on to that dream, even if it hasn't become a reality for you today, if not tomorrow. I think it'll become a reality for you probably in 2026. Because one of the biggest dreams of all time is set to become a reality. Production is wrapped, Descendants 5 with Wonderland, and because production is wrapped, that doesn't mean the story is over. The story is just so much further deeper and so much more detailed and in-depth. And I'm just really excited to be a part of it because I don't want to close the book on Descendants of Zombies just yet. I want to see more of a story. And you can have up to 100 movies of Descendants of Zombies if you really want to break it down. Because that's the issue. People don't know how to break down these movies. People don't know how to show up on YouTube with a greater appreciation for Descendants of Zombies, like I will do tonight in my final video, like I will do again tomorrow morning all over again. Because I really believe that if guys are promising you Descendants of Zombies videos, then they should promise you Descendants of Zombies videos that they follow through with. And not just promise you Descendants of Zombies videos just because they want to mock the franchises or upload what they call reaction videos. I think there is a greater appreciation to be had and to be seen for Descendants of Zombies, which makes this the greatest honor of my life. Not just to talk about Descendants of Zombies, but to be here with each and every one of you. Because this summer was a summer I will never forget. The fall of 2025 is going to be a fall I think is going to be the greatest of all time too, because there are going to be a lot of UK rumors for the UK tour, the expansion of the Worlds Collide tour, which is something I'm really excited about. And I'm just really excited to be here with each and every one of you to talk about Descendants of Zombies for just a little while longer, to be your voice of Descendants of Zombies and really to be your voice of reason. Because I know how it goes. People are always trying to, put a damper on your hopes for Descendants of Zombies ever happening. Zombies 5 doesn't need to happen. Descendants 5 will go on wrapped. We don't need any more Descendants Zombies movies. I've heard it all. And I've become very frustrated because I've always believed that you guys have deserved better. And I just wanted to be that guy to give you better in the way of reviews on my YouTube channel. No matter if it's a 15-minute video, a 20-minute video, I just wanted to come through for each and every one of you. And 482 videos later, I think I've done that. We are approaching the 500th video on this YouTube channel. My voice is completely worn out from talking about Descendants of Zombies, but it never fails to put a smile on my face because I really do love talking about the franchises that have meant so much to your hearts. And the reality of it is, if I wasn't talking about Descendants of Zombies, I really don't know what I'd be doing. Probably at EB Games buying the latest video game on PlayStation 5 at this point. Because I either buy them off Amazon or I buy them from EB Games. So I'm either at the game store or Booster Juice. I'm heading to McDonald's tonight. Hey, come to think of it, Freya Sky loves plain cheeseburgers at McDonald's. I do too. So I'm heading there tonight. And after I get home from McDonald's, I will record one final video for you guys, which I hope you will join me for. Again, I feel like I can relate to Freya Sky a lot for her passion for video games and board games and McDonald's because I spent a lot of time there. Actually, I was customer of the month at McDonald's when I was probably 12 years old. They never ever forgot me. They knew my car when I drive up to the drive-thru and they knew my order before I even placed it. So I was very dedicated to things that Freya Sky loves. So when it comes to Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, 13 Dead End Drive, Monopoly, and Twister, I'm ready to go. So if Freya Sky wants a companion in life, then I'm her friend. I'll be her best friend for forever. I'll be your best friend for forever, and we'll talk about Descendants of Zombies for a little while longer. I just wish you would subscribe. I'm hoping you're going to subscribe because you love these videos. Guys, thank you so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel. I have a lot to say where Descendants of Zombies goes. We will get to that later tonight. Thank you so much. I love you with all of my heart, and we will talk more about Descendants of Zombies in literally just a few hours from now. Stay calm and zombie on, everybody, into the foreseeable future.